Mafia, so more changes are affecting the Philadelphia Eagles. And this one isn't just a quiet reshuffle. This is one of the pillars of our system stepping away. And yes, the statement from the team was glowing and heartfelt, as it should be. But more details are coming out and it's filling in some important holes of the story. Jeff Stoutland is no longer the offensive line coach and the run game coordinator for the Philadelphia Eagles. He's been the league standard for 13 years, and that's come to an end. And when someone like that steps away, it's never just about timing. But the more that comes out really explains why the ending just didn't feel right. Because Jeff Stoutland wasn't just another position coach. He shaped and he built Hall of Fame careers. Under Jeff Stoutland, Jason Kelce becomes a Hall of Famer. Lane Johnson becomes the cornerstone of the franchise. Jordan Mailata goes from rugby project into one of the best tackles in the National Football League. And Cam Jurgen earns 2 Pro Bowl nods. Even the backups came in ready and prepared. The room never panicked and the room never looked lost. Even when we were dealing with a slew of injuries. And then we all noticed that the seasons began to drift. And new news reports hints at this direction and explains why this ending didn't feel clean at all. According to league sources, Stoutland grew frustrated as the season went on. The line didn't play to the standard this year. The run game slipped and Saquon Barkley looked like a shell of his old self. The physical edge that we used to have wasn't there. And I get it, yes, there were many injuries. Lane Johnson was banged up, and Dickinson and Jurgens were consistently out of the rotation. We never had true stability on our line. But what makes this so much worse is that Nick Sirianni and Kevin Patullo began incorporating different run designs in an attempt to kickstart the offense. And through that whole transition, Stoutland was never consulted. They never asked his opinion, they never asked him about his thought on the direction, and they didn't lean on his experience the way they did before. And at some point, he didn't even want the title of run game coordinator anymore, because it no longer matched what he was actually doing. And once you hear that, the season actually begins to make more sense. The run game lost its identity. The physical edge that we once had disappeared. And every single play felt forced. And Kevin Patullo running the offense did not help that. His play calling put the offensive line in a terrible spot. And that structure that carried this organization for years stopped becoming the foundation. It started internally and forced itself onto our offensive line. Now, add Sean Manning coming in as the new offensive coordinator. You get an entirely new offense in a new direction. A new voice, a new structure, a new alignment. And when that happens after a season like this, long-standing roles get reevaluated. But I do get it and I do understand. When you come to a new team and you're the new coordinator, you want to bring in your own staff who aligns with the vision that you do have. The new regime comes in and the old regime moves out. But there is a positive here. Stoutland did not say that he was retiring. He didn't just disappear. He said that his time of coaching the Eagles is coming to an end. But he intends to remain with the franchise in some capacity. And as of right now, we don't know what that capacity is. He's still respected, he's still connected, and still very much valued around this league. And his effect doesn't just stop there. So that leads me to this question. What happens with the players and the potential that we already have? What happens with Mekhi Becton? Mekhi Becton revived his career in Stoutland University. He went from being a bust to being an anchor in his Eagles offensive line. He spent a short stint with the Chargers and didn't play well. And now he wants to come back home to the Eagles. How did Jeff Stoutland not being there factor into Mekhi Becton returning? With Stoutland, you trust the development, you trust the patience, and you trust the overall vision. Now without him, that evaluation gets a little bit harder. And then there's Lane Johnson, and their relationship has really mattered a lot throughout his career. Jeff Stoutland has been there through the entirety of Lane Johnson's career. If Lane Johnson is weighing out how long he wants to do this, having Stoutland in the room was part of that equation. That doesn't change his chances of playing, but it does remove his comfort. And comfort really matters late in a player's career. And think about it. Around the league, teams are going to begin to call. They see the effect of Stoutland University and how it can affect their offensive line. And if somebody wants stability with their young offensive line, that phone is going to ring. Because great coaches don't stay available. So what happens now? We still have the talent, and we still have that desire to win. But the standard changes, the tone changes, and the room feels a lot different. Stoutland set the daily expectation, how things were done, how hard things were supposed to feel, and the structure of the offensive line. Replacing that's not just going to come from a playbook. That's all presence. So let me get your opinion. Do you think that the Eagles handled this at the right time? Or did a wasted offensive season push a legend out the door? And how worried are you about the line without him? Drop it in the comments and let me know. The Eagles can survive this. They might even actually thrive. But pretending like this was a clean break? Nah, I'm not hearing that. This feels like less of a surprise and more like the results of a season where voices stopped aligning. The talent is still there. Now we'll see if the identity stayed with it. So signing off, this is Brother Shy, and this has been the Midnight Green Mafia.